having lived there,
Yes,
and Mary, Miss
yes,
McKinney.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So,
All right.
yeah, we all, and we were close knit family
Okay.
on Magnolia Street.
And when you walked down the street back then, what did you see? Did you see in terms of flowers and gardens?
Oh my God!
Mhm.
Flowers, gardens, every sort in that area. You would have every sort of fruit and berry that you might imagine. Matter of fact, St. Mary's Hospital was not there. I remember when they built that.
Okay.
That was our playground. Those were woods.
So that's where you played.
That's where I played over where Clark Middle School is, and where the Athens Regional Library is. That was just an open field. Well, there was a little house used to live there, and I forget the lady. She was an elderly lady. Used to live there. One little house there, where the library is.
Okay.
And then next to that, where Clark Middle School, that was not there. Those were woods, and then the old Brooklyn Cemetery, which is still on the other side of that was there. Where Apps Road Elementary School is, that used to be the airport.
Okay.
Yeah, they used to be the airport. And where Apps Shopping Center is, you know, all that was woods. And then they had the Apps Drive-In, old drive-in theater used to be right there. I used to sit on the back porch and watch the movies.
Okay.
And the Beachwood Shopping Center was like a plum patch.
Okay.
So all that was our playground. We
Playground.
just, you know, all of that. Baxter Street was actually, when I was very small, Baxter Street was just a dirt road going to a rock spring. Yeah.
Okay.
And, they later developed that. And but the neighborhood, all the kids that grew up on Magnolia Street.
And you just mentioned some of the things y'all did. Y'all just played in the woods.
Played in the woods, played one another. You know, invented games. We were, you know, outdoors. Kids were outdoors in those days and times. You know,
Right.
and you know, Magnolia Terrace, Rose Street, Evans Street. We all just climber. We were all just tight. But Magnolia Street was a community. It was a tight community. Like I say, everybody knew everybody.
Okay.
We all got along good. And it was an area that was considered in those days and times. Matter of fact, when I was growing up, I didn't see it like that. But Magnolia was supposedly one of the upper class neighborhoods for black people at that particular time. And we had a connection with the plaza. Yeah, that was it. And with all activities, sports, what have you, Magnolia and Plaza were always united together in those.
There's a lot of educators that live on both streets.
A lot of educators lived on both streets, and so we're very tight, very connected. The whole west side was very connected. But you know, growing up on Magnolia was a joy. It was a pleasure. We had at one time on Back Street we had a store called the Quick Serve. We go there and we sell drink bottles and buy little snacks and what have you. On the other end, we had what was called, right facing Magnolia on Broad Street, was Drury's, a store which later moved over to King Avenue, where the clinic is right at the corner of King Avenue and Old Broad. But at first, that store was sitting right there on front of Magnolia on Broad Street. Broad was just a two-lane street. At that time. And you know, we'd play games, and going to school,
So where did you start school?
I started school, my first school was West Broad Elementary School. I went there.
Tell me about that. How long were you there?
I was there for 6 years.
6 years? Okay.
6 years. I had first grade was Miss Maureen Burton was my teacher. Second grade, Miss Amina Brown, Bradford Brown's mother was my second grade teacher.
Brad Ma. Okay.
My third grade was Mrs. Edwards, Professor Edwards' wife was my third grade teacher. My fourth grade teacher was Miss Appling, and she lived on the east side. And then my fifth grade teacher was Miss Mary Allen, Walter Allen's mother. That was my fifth grade teacher. And then my sixth grade teacher was Miss Alfred. Miss Alfred's mother. That was my sixth grade teacher. So I went all the way through sixth grade at West Broad.
Who was the principal?
The principal of West Broad Street was Mrs. Freeman, who was Lawrence Hurley's grandmother. Mrs. Hurley's mother was the principal of West Broad when I went there. And she lived on the corner of Rock Spring and Waddell, right where the Housing Authority facility is now.
Anything in particular you remember about West Broad? The West Broad school years?
Oh, I had fun memories there. The teachers, you know, in that day and time, the teachers were very caring. They made sure you got an education. You know, our discipline wasn't necessary, but it was community. Again, everybody knew everybody. People went to church together. Parents were involved with PTA during that time. It was very everything was community.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was community. In the old building, West Broad, where I spent my third grade, third and fourth grade,
Okay.
was spent in that old building.
Okay.
And
that's the building right there on Manor Street.
On Manor Street,
Mm-hmm.
which that was the main building
Main
when they
building.
first turned it from Broad Street. The original building that was West Broad Street that our cousins didn't want on Broad Street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard about that. Reverend Keegan told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the building on Manor Street was built, and then later the other building behind it was built. But in that old building, some of my best memories was we had a teacher who taught third grade, Miss Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Diggs. And she commanded authority.
Yes,
We could hear Miss Diggs walking down the hall in everybody's class straighten up. You know, I don't care where you were in that building,
Mm-hmm.
and when you heard her voice, it kind of just thundered through the whole building.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got it right. but Miss Ed was my third grade teacher, and she was such a sweet person,
Mm-hmm.
such a sweet lady, and just oh God, all my teachers were. They were just. It was just. You felt like family,
Mm-hmm.
and you knew they cared. There were no. I guess the biggest event that happened when I was going to West Broad Elementary School was one day we had a storm, and I remember there was a ball of fire came out of the sky and hit the chimney of the old school building and
Mm-hmm.
exploded the chimney.
Wow.
I guess that was the most exciting thing that happened there. But as far as education goes, I mean, it was super.
Okay.
It was super. And as a matter of fact, this past first of this month, I was reminiscing about May Day.
Okay.
We said
I've heard about May Day.
Yeah, May Day, and we'd all dressed in white and wrapped the ribbons around the maypole.
Mm-hmm.
Did things like that. Just fun memories.
Right,
Fun
yeah,
memories
yeah.
down there. But every teacher down there, they cared. They were good teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall any teacher that I would say that was a bad teacher.
Right,
As far as being able to teach and as far as loving the students.
Mm-hmm.
We had good teachers.
Okay.
They were very good, caring teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was just a sense of community, and they helped develop a sense of pride about life and education
Right.
within all the students there
Mhm.
in the community.
Okay.
And what I liked about it, being in this day and time, you see lots of parents who, they may not be educated, and they kind of shy away from interacting with the schools where their children attend. It was not like that in West Broad.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody interacted, and nobody was belittled. Everybody played an important role. And again, parents participated in PTA. That's what it was called back then.
Mm-hmm.
They were there. If something happened at school, before you got home, the parents knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just if it was something that seemed a little serious, the teacher would be at your house.
Mm-hmm.
We had that sort of environment.
Right.
So it was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
And so you went there through the sixth grade,
Sixth grade.
and then you went to
I went to Lyons Middle School.
Okay.
It was called Lyons Junior High. in
Lyons
seventh
Junior
grade.
High.
Is out where the Reserve Center is out there by the airport
Mhm.
in those days. That's
Okay.
where Lyons was located.
Okay.
And
Tell
Lyons
me
had-
about those years.
I had 1 year I spent out the Lyons. That
One.
seventh grade
Okay.
year.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. My homeroom teacher, Mr. Watkins, who used to live on the plaza, my homeroom teacher and my history teacher there. I had Mrs. Allen again. She was my English teacher out
Okay.
there. She
Okay.
had moved out there. She was
Mhm.
my English teacher, but it was wonderful. We had, and those were the years of. In that year, we had what was called freedom of choice
Okay.
that started. But I chose to go to Lyons that first year,
Okay.
and we had only one Caucasian teacher. I remember in those days out
Okay.
there.
Mhm.
Very nice lady.
Who was the principal at that time?
The principal was Mr. Stroud.
Mr. Sprout.
Mr.
Okay.
Stroud was the principal.
Okay.
there.
Okay.
And his dad was my bus driver.
Okay. Okay. Really? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
His dad, so if you any trouble on the bus, he'd turn that bus right around and take you all the way back out to Lyons. And we had a saying that back then, we got to Lyons when we were going out to the cow pasture because
Way out there.
no use trying to cut school or skip school and do anything, nothing out there.
Yeah.
Nothing out there. You may as well stay in school and
Uh-huh.
get your lesson. But we had fun.
Mhm.
After that year, but fun years out there, good teachers out there.
Mhm.
I had a great time out there, but I chose to go to.
So integration was starting,
Immigration,
and you had one white teacher at that time.
Had one white teacher at that time, and again, like I said, she was a good teacher, very lovely lady. But she died in a car accident.
Oh no!
On Smoky Road. Yeah. But Miss Hines was her name. But she was a good teacher. All the teachers out there were good teachers.
Okay.
Mr. Armel Stroud was a music teacher out there in those days. So we had lots of good teachers out there at Lyons.
And then you came back on the west side.
Came back to the west side and spent my 8th grade year at Clark Middle, what was then Clark County Junior High, as we called it at that time.
Okay.
There I went my 8th grade year. That was a challenging time.
Right.
It was
that was a very integrated situation.
It was integrated, but I'll tell you, it was being the early years of integration. It was tough.
Right. Talk about that.
Tough. I had no problems academically at that school. I could keep up with all the kids. Never had a problem with academics in any school. But
let me, before you go on, was that a choice situation then?
That was a choice.
Okay.
That was freedom of choice.
Okay, so you just elected to go.
I elected to go to that school. I did not want to go way back out there to Lyons.
Okay.
So that was right across the street.
And you right across the street from Clark Miller.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I decided to go there.
Okay, so tell me more about that experience.
That experience, I wouldn't take anything for it, but it was very trying. It was still a loss of racial tension there. Had a lot of teachers that were prejudiced during those days, and they had little subtle ways of trying to make it seem as though they were not. So that was challenging. We were determined as students, as young students, to make sure that we were not mistreated. It was challenging in that some things that happened that were negative, sometimes it was our fault as students, sometimes it was not. But with the parents having been so accustomed to the old way, anything that happened that they said from the school, we were guilty. We were deemed guilty.
All right, I hear